Welcome back to our channel. Have you ever wondered which countries would face total collapse without Russia's support? As one of the world's superpowers, Russia plays a significant role in the political, economic, and military landscapes of many nations. But what happens when a country relies heavily on Russia for trade, military support, or economic stability? In this video, we'll explore the top 10 countries that would face total collapse without Russia's assistance. Stay tuned till the end to understand the deep connections these nations share with Russia. Like, subscribe, and watch till the end to uncover this geopolitical truth. Number 10. Belarus. Belarus is perhaps the most dependent country on Russia, with its political and economic systems deeply intertwined with its larger neighbor. As of 2025, Belarus relies on Russia for 50% of its trade, especially in energy supplies, including oil and natural gas. Over the years, Russia has provided Belarus with financial aid, including subsidized energy, which keeps the country's economy afloat. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko has maintained a strong alliance with Russia, supporting Russia's actions in international forums and offering political loyalty. The military cooperation between the two countries is also critical. Russia has military bases in Belarus, and the countries engage in joint military exercises, which further solidifies their relationship. If Russia were to withdraw support, Belarus would face economic collapse due to high dependency on Russian energy and trade routes. Additionally, Belarus's political survival would be at risk, with protests against Lukashenko's rule already increasing since 2020. Without Russia's backing, Belarus would face massive instability, as its economy is not diversified enough to survive on its own, and its political infrastructure could crumble under pressure from external and internal forces. Number 9. Syria has been heavily reliant on Russia for both military and economic support since the outbreak of its civil war in 2011. By 2025, Russia's support remains critical to the survival of the Assad regime, as Russian forces have been instrumental in propping up Assad's government during the war. Russia has provided military assistance, including airstrikes, weapons, and troops, which have allowed Assad's forces to regain control of much of the country. Additionally, Russia has been crucial in securing Syria's position in international diplomacy, using its veto power in the UN Security Council to block resolutions that could harm the Syrian regime. Economic support from Russia includes oil imports and financial loans, as Syria's economy has been devastated by years of war. Without Russia's backing, Syria would face the collapse of its government, which would be unable to sustain control over the fragmented country. The Syrian economy would collapse further, as it is already dealing with severe sanctions and trade blockages. The collapse of Assad's regime could lead to a power vacuum in Syria, with increased instability and the potential for further violence. Russia's role as Syria's primary ally is crucial for its survival. Number 8. Venezuela. Venezuela has found a significant ally in Russia as its economic and political crisis has worsened. By 2025, Venezuela's economy has become largely reliant on Russian support for survival. Russia provides Venezuela with financial loans, military equipment, and oil deals essential for a country that has seen its economy collapse due to sanctions, hyperinflation, and political instability. Venezuela's oil industry, once its economic backbone, has been in sharp decline due to the collapse of infrastructure and foreign sanctions, which has reduced the country's ability to export oil. Russia has helped Venezuela maintain its oil production through investment and technical expertise, and Russia has also sent military advisors to help strengthen the Venezuelan army. The Venezuelan government, led by Nicolas Maduro, has faced increasing international isolation, but Russia has stood firm as one of its few allies in the global community. Without Russia's support, Venezuela would face a complete collapse. Its economy would grind to a halt, and its military would struggle to maintain order. Russia is the primary supplier of military technology and economic aid, so without it, Venezuela would likely fall into further political turmoil, and its government would be at risk of total collapse. Number 7. North Korea. North Korea has been one of Russia's most consistent allies, particularly since the collapse of the Soviet Union. By 2025, North Korea remains highly dependent on Russia for political support, military supplies, and economic assistance. Russia provides North Korea with essential resources such as energy, food, and trade opportunities, which help sustain its economy despite US-led sanctions. Russia has historically supported North Korea's sovereignty at international forums and has blocked resolutions in the UN Security Council that could harm North Korea's interests. The military alliance between Russia and North Korea involves arms sales, missile technology exchanges, and shared intelligence in countering US influence. North Korea also receives military training from Russia and has been aided in building its missile systems. If Russia were to cut ties with North Korea, the country would face severe economic difficulties and would likely face collapse, as it depends on Russian support for energy supplies and trade routes. The loss of Russian backing would likely lead to further isolation, a crumbling economy, and the loss of military capabilities, putting North Korea's leadership at risk. Number 6. Kazakhstan. A key member of the Collective Security Treaty Organization and Eurasian Economic Union, has a strong relationship with Russia due to shared economic interests, military cooperation, and geopolitical considerations. As of 2025, Kazakhstan remains highly reliant on Russia, particularly for economic stability. Russia is Kazakhstan's largest trading partner, with energy exports such as oil, gas, and minerals accounting for a significant portion of Kazakhstan's economy. Russia's role as a transport hub for Kazakh goods ensures its access to European markets, which would be cut off if Kazakhstan lost its partnership with Russia. Military cooperation between the two countries also plays a critical role in Kazakhstan's security strategy. Russia has provided military assistance and security guarantees, especially in response to potential threats from neighboring countries. Additionally, Kazakhstan's strategic position between Russia and China means that it relies on Russian support for balancing its relations with both powers. Without Russia's backing, Kazakhstan would face economic difficulties, as it would lose access to crucial trade routes and energy supplies. Moreover, Kazakhstan's sovereignty could be questioned, especially in the face of rising tensions in Central Asia, potentially leading to political instability and economic collapse. Number 5. Moldova. Moldova has been significantly impacted by its geopolitical position between Russia and European Union influences. By 2025, Moldova remains highly reliant on Russia for energy supplies and economic stability, especially as it struggles with political fragmentation and economic dependence. Russia supplies Moldova with natural gas and oil, which are vital to the country's energy sector. Moldova's economy has been suffering from low foreign investment and corruption, with Russia's economic ties helping sustain the country. Russia also supports the breakaway region of Transnistria, which remains under Russian influence and has been a point of contention with Moldova. If Russia were to withdraw its support, Moldova would face severe economic repercussions due to its reliance on Russian energy supplies and the loss of trade routes to the east. The political vacuum could also result in internal instability, as Moldova's government would struggle to maintain control without Russian backing. Moldova's relationship with the West has been complicated, as it balances ties with the European Union and Russia. Without Russian support, Moldova's territorial integrity could be further threatened, and it could face serious political turmoil, potentially leading to a collapse of state authority. Number 4. Armenia. Armenia's political and military dependence on Russia is crucial to its survival in a region filled with tension. By 2025, Armenia continues to rely on Russian support to maintain its security and territorial integrity, particularly in the face of regional challenges from Azerbaijan and Turkey. Russia is Armenia's primary military ally, providing arms and defense technology, along with military bases in Armenia. Armenia is also a member of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, a Russia-led defense alliance that guarantees its protection against external threats. The Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, which has seen clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan, highlights Armenia's dependence on Russia for military support and diplomatic mediation. In addition to military backing, Armenia relies on Russia for energy supplies, particularly natural gas and electricity, which are vital to the Armenian economy. Without Russian military assistance, Armenia would struggle to defend its borders and maintain its territorial claims, particularly in the Nagorno-Karabakh region. Furthermore, economic collapse is a significant risk, as Armenia lacks sufficient alternative trade partners and energy independence. Russia's backing helps Armenia to avoid a complete collapse of its economy and national security. Number 3. Turkmenistan. Turkmenistan has relied heavily on Russia for economic support and security since its independence from the Soviet Union. By 2025, Russia continues to play a vital role in Turkmenistan's energy sector and geopolitical alignment. The country is one of the world's largest natural gas producers, and Russia is one of its primary buyers. As a result, Turkmenistan's economy is heavily reliant on Russian demand for natural gas. Moreover, Russia provides military assistance, including arms supplies and security cooperation, to help Turkmenistan defend its borders, particularly from Islamic extremism in the region. Turkmenistan, a neutral country, has historically aligned itself with Russia due to shared interests in countering external military influences. However, Russia's dominance in Turkmenistan's energy trade has allowed it to maintain a hold on Turkmenistan's foreign policy. Without Russia's trade relations and economic backing, Turkmenistan would face massive economic instability as the country lacks other sufficient trade routes or international partners. Political pressure from the West could also destabilize the Turkmen regime, and with Russia no longer providing a buffer, Turkmenistan could face domestic unrest and an eventual collapse of its government. Number 2, Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan's relationship with Russia has been integral to its political stability and economic development. By 2025, Uzbekistan remains heavily dependent on Russia for trade, energy, and security. Russia is one of Uzbekistan's largest trading partners, particularly in sectors like natural gas and oil, which are essential to Uzbekistan's energy needs. The Uzbek economy is significantly tied to Russian markets, especially for exports of gas and cotton. Furthermore, Uzbekistan is part of Russia's broader regional influence, which gives it access to Russian military cooperation and security guarantees. Uzbekistan is a member of the Collective Security Treaty Organization and relies on Russia to defend its borders, particularly in the context of regional instability in Central Asia. Uzbekistan's dependence on Russia also extends to military ties, where Russian arms and training support are critical for Uzbekistan's defense infrastructure. Without Russian backing, Uzbekistan's economy would struggle, particularly in energy exports, and it would face increased vulnerability to external pressures from its neighbors. The loss of Russian influence would likely lead to economic collapse and geopolitical instability, as Uzbekistan's internal policies heavily align with Russia's regional priorities. Number 1, Ukraine. Ukraine is one of the countries whose political stability and territorial integrity have been significantly impacted by its relationship with Russia. By 2025, Ukraine remains in a highly volatile situation due to ongoing Russian aggression in the Donbas region and the annexation of Crimea. Russia's support for pro-Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine and its annexation of Crimea in 2014 have exacerbated Ukraine's instability, resulting in ongoing military conflict. Ukraine's dependence on Russia is multifaceted. Economically, Ukraine is highly reliant on Russian gas exports, with about 30% of its energy coming from Russia. While Ukraine has sought closer ties with the European Union and NATO, Russian influence has continued to shape its political landscape and security policies. The ongoing conflict has led to severe economic challenges, including inflation, unemployment, and displacement of people within the country. Military aid and Russian-backed separatists continue to challenge Ukraine's sovereignty. If Russia were to further withdraw support or escalate conflict, Ukraine would likely face further collapse in its economic infrastructure, which is already struggling with reconstruction efforts and debt. Without Russian energy supplies, military support, and economic ties, Ukraine would struggle to maintain its territorial integrity and sovereignty in the face of ongoing external threats. The top 10 countries that depend on Russia for economic survival and security reflect a complex web of geopolitical alliances and resource dependencies. Without Russian support, many of these countries would face severe economic collapse and political instability. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment below for more insights.